board and I need you to tell me how would I multiply those together? FOIL. So basically I would take x times x and get
X squared.
x squared. I would then take x times 4 and get 4x. And then I would take 3 times x and get 3x. And then I would take 3 times 4 and get 12. Okay? And then my final answer would be x squared plus 7x plus 12. And we've already done that. We've done a really good job of doing that. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to start with the yellow. So we're going to have a problem like here that we have in the yellow. And I'm going to move backwards and I'm going to get what's in the black. Okay? So I'm going to start here with the yellow and I'm going to be told to factor. That's what we're doing. That's what this process is called. It's called factoring. So I'm going to have a problem like here in the yellow. And my answer is going to be 2 quantities like that. So I'm going to do reverse FOIL. I'm going to undo it. Okay? And so with that in mind, let's go, oops, I skipped one. Let's go and go back here. It says factor each polynomial. And so I'm going to show you some techniques that really work in order to find those 2. So when we're all said and done, we need to have 2 quantities. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the very last term. So I am looking for 2 factors of 20.
10.
So I'm looking for 2 factors that, okay, 2 factors that, and I'm going to work my way backwards. 2 factors of 20 that add to 9. Okay, so really what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for 2 factors of 20 that add to 9. Okay, so let's think about when we think of factors of 20. Now, I don't want you to put positive and negative signs with them at all now. I just want you to think of 2 factors of 20. So when we think of factors of 20, I've got 1 and 20, right? That would be 1. I've got 2 and 10. That would be another. I've got 4 and 5. So let's see. What do 1 and 20 add to? 21. What do 2 and 10 add to? 12. What do 4 and 5 add to? Bingo. So 2 factors of 20 that add to 9. And now what we're going to do is we're going to attach signs. And so my 2 quantities, first of all, I'm going to have an x that will start because my variable is x in the problem. I'm going to have a 4 and I'm going to have a 5. Now what I do is I look back at this sign right here. How do you get a positive 9 from 4 and 5? Positive 4 and positive 5, right? Because if you have plus 4 and plus 5, you get plus 9. And so there you go. That is your answer. You have now factored it. Now generally when we factor, you're not going to have to write all that stuff down. This is just the initial learning curve that we have. Okay, and you're going to be able to look at a problem and say this is what it's going to be. So let's go and look at this one. What's the problem with this one right here? 9 plus 10 and plus n squared. It's not in descending order. It's not in standard form. And so that's the very first thing I need to do. Standard form would be what?
N squared plus n to
2, 10, and plus 9.
Plus 9. So we're going to start, and what number am I going to start looking at?
9.
The 9. Yep, perfect. 2 factors of 9. So 2 factors of 9 that add to 10. So what are the 2 factors of 9 that add to 10? 1 and 9. Now, this is what I sometimes do, okay? I sometimes sit there and think, okay, now I've got to come up with a positive 10 from these 2 numbers. How do you get a positive 10 from those 2? 1 and 1. So my quantity would be n plus 1, n plus 9. Now, say, for example, I wrote that as n plus 9, n plus 1. Would that work? Yeah. Okay. It doesn't matter which one is first and which one is second. So you could have, or you could have written this as n plus 9 times n plus 1. Okay. Doesn't matter. Same thing. So far, so good? All right. What's different on this one? The negative, but we're still going to go through and do the exact same thing we just got done doing. So I'm looking for 2 factors of 12 that what? Add to 8. Now remember what I said, ignore the sign until the very end. So what are 2 factors of 12 that add to 8? 2 and 6, good. 2 and 6. Now we're going to attach the signs. So now I'm going to look at this sign right here. How do you get a -8 from 2 and 6?
Negative.
-2 and -6. Doesn't that give you a -8 when you add it together? So that would factor to be x minus 2 times x minus 6. Okay. Alrighty, I want you to try that one for me. Okay, first thing you need to do though is write that in standard form. So go ahead, write that in standard form, and then we'll go ahead and now, if you get stuck, it might help to actually go through and write down the factors like we did on that very first one. So if you're stuck and you just can't think of anything, start by writing factors down, and then it might help you figure out what the 2 are.
Me too.
So what you could do is you could actually start by listing the factors of 21, and if you notice there's only 2 of them, 2 sets. So 2 factors of 21 that add up to 22 should have been this top one. Both of them are negative, so you should have gotten m minus 1 times m minus 21. Questions?
So why do you not use the
Because those aren't 2 factors of 21 that add to 22. 3 and 7 add to 10. Okay. Now we've got a difference.
Okay.
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, I got it.
So, let's think about that. If you remember, it was 2 factors of 15. Now notice this is not add to. What do you think this means? That differ by. So I like the word differ because differ kind of helps me think about it, in terms of mine. So 2 factors of 15. So 2 factors of 15 that differ by what number?
2.
2. So when we think of factors of 15,
5 and 3.
yep. First of all, we've got 1 and 15, and as somebody's already said, 3 and 5. Those 2 factors differ by 2. What do 1 and 15 differ by? 14. Okay, so now I need to think, how can you get a positive 2 from 3 and 5? So let's attach signs. I want a positive 2 from 3 and 5.
Positive 5, negative 3.
Positive 5 and negative 3. Because now if you add them together, you get a positive 2. And so when I go ahead and place that in parentheses, this is what I get. X minus 3 times x plus 5. All right. I want you to try this one for me. X squared minus 7x minus 18. X squared minus 7x minus 18. This is something you have to get down. Okay, you have to be able to factor. This is going to follow you through. Now 18 has quite a few factors, so if you want, I would go ahead and write down what are the individual factors if you need to. Okay? And so if you get stuck, you've got 1 and 18, you've got 2 and 9, you've got 3 and 6. So now of those, which ones differ by, what do they need to differ by on this one? 7. Which one differs by 7?
2 and 9.
The 2 and 9. So that means these are out. So now I have to get a negative 7 from 2 and 9. So positive 2, negative 9. So you should get x plus 2 times x minus 9. Questions? Think you can handle that?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to try one more for me. Now, this one especially, you might want to jot down what the factors of 48 are because there are quite a few. Because this isn't one that you're probably just going to know right off the top of your head.
Yes. 3 works?
Oh, it does.
Don't give them the answer. Everybody else is gonna know.
So if you didn't hear what the group up here said, they found that 3 and 16 work. Okay, because when you go through and do 1, 2, and 4, you didn't get anything that works. So 3 and 16, okay, how do you get a positive 13 from that? A negative 3, positive 16? So you should have y minus 3 times y plus 16. Questions? Questions about the factoring? Yeah.
So, like, when you decide whether it's a negative or positive when you write the frequencies, is it just the opposite of what it is? in
No,
the-
it's exactly what you have here. So there's your minus 3, there's your plus 16.
So how do you decide what to put? The-
You look at this sign right here in the problem.
It's the opposite of that?
No, it's always the positive. This is positive 13, negative 3 plus 16 is positive 13. It's the exact same. They all match. So now, with that in mind, where we're going to go tomorrow is we're going to be solving equations using factoring, but we're not going to go there today. So what I need you to do is go ahead and get started on your assignment. It's found on page 507, 12 through 29. Now, you're not going to be able to do the ones that it says to solve the equation. Okay? So you won't be able to solve the equation. So just go to that section and then stop. So it's like half of the problems you have to do.
Radius, something about this radius.